Hello, everybody. How are we? Welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel, whenever and wherever you're watching. I hope you enjoy the video today and the podcast. Make sure you do leave a like, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts, all that good stuff. My name is Culshaw. I'm joined by Sam, Ucko, Charlie Zazzera for a Sunday night stream, which makes a nice return after a little bit of a break. Sam, I completely forgot that I was on WD18 there for a minute in that intro. But, how are you getting on, mate? You okay?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I was going to say, I feel like since you guys have been ramping up the content on 90 Min, occasionally you've had to double take what channel you're actually recording on. So, look, Jacob, as you start getting more and more big time, you're going to have to start juggling.
What's the weekend consisted of without Watford?
Without Watford and without uni. So the first time I've had literally nothing to do during weekends for a long time. So was on the beers yesterday, lovely barbecue outside. So it's been good weather as well. So I've been enjoying it. But look, I'm buzzing as well for football to be back. I think from when the Euros kick off, I think we got 7 out of 8 days where we've got 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock games. So probably won't move from in front of the TV for that entire time. So buzzing for that.
Do you know what I'd pay good money to see, Sam?
Go on.
A tier list of beers from you. I think if you said to me, like, what would be like elite Samuel Ucko content, and it was like ranking pints, I think you scream a bit of Cruz Campo for me.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. Recently, I've actually got into my Asahi. I feel like that's been sort of the breakthrough, the Asahi of beers over the last 18 months or so. I'm an Asahi fan, but I get a lot of hate for this. I do like my Budweiser as well.
Oh,
by the way, 18 and over, please drink responsibly. By the way, we must just say that.
I was going to say, Asahi, we're not made of money. Charlie, how are you getting on, mate?
All good. Just ramping up to the Euros, watching all the England content. Looking forward to going over there. Huh?
Even the Iceland game?
Oh, yeah, travesty, wasn't it? Nah, doesn't really matter. No, Jude turned up today, didn't he? Jude turned up to camp, so hopefully he's going to carry us on. But yeah, all good. It's been quite busy though, hasn't it? Watford news stuff. The WhatsApp's been pinging, so I'm guessing that's what we're going to chat about today.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to get into. Thanks so much to everyone who's watching live. Also, bizarrely, I don't know why I'm even talking about this. This weekend was a weird one. I went to my first ever baseball game on Saturday. Have you guys been before?
Never been.
So I've got this theory that that's going to be the Premier League in a few years' time, where they have like games, one-off games in America. But lads, honestly, it's absolutely bizarre. Like it's amazing, but also it's more entertainment than sport. Like you've got music, you've got the piano coming in is it piano? I think it is. Piano coming in every 4 or 5 minutes. You've got just flares going off. You've got mascot races. It's wild. So my question is, if you were to if you were to host another sport at Vicarage Road, what would you want it to be and why? Because it's up there on the stadium.
I don't feel like there's enough room for it, but as a running man myself, I'd love to see like some sort of athletics at Vicarage Road, all round, little marathon around the pitch.
I reckon we get stage at the back end, maybe the rookery, fill it out. Let's get the dartboard out, get some darts at the Vic.
Oh, mate, I'd be all over that. I could see maybe an AJ boxing fight. I think that's got to happen at some point, surely. Even if it's just a testimonial.
I feel like, it would. If those shares do come in, which we'll come on to today, talking about those shares. But obviously, the other week there was a mention of Anthony Joshua investing in Watford at some point. So you never know, particularly if he does put that money in.
WWE at the Vic, John Cena versus The Rock. Yes, please. Lots to come on the show today. As Sam mentioned, the share sales obviously is a massive talking point within the Watford fan base at this moment in time. And I think the first thing to mention as well is just in terms of, we put a little bit of an ask out, and this is to anyone watching really, about a content creator getting involved with the channel next season. Now, it is unpaid, but it's a really cool opportunity to basically get involved with our TikTok, our Instagram, our socials, get involved with our presenting on camera stuff. So if you'd like to get involved with that, drop us a DM at WD18 fans. We'll send some more information about that. But we've had plenty of DMs, so thanks so much to everyone who's reached out about that. It has been a busy week on the Watford front. And I think the first place to start, though, Sam, is someone who I know you're a big admirer of, which is Tom Dele-Bashiru, who's been offered a new contract. Now, this was released by Damesh Sheth at Sky Sports. Now, Watford have been in negotiations because obviously Tom Dele-Bashiru's contract was running out. It looks like he's agreed or close to agreeing a new 3-year deal. So with that news, Sam, did you expect that news? Probably is the first thing to say.
I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't expecting it. I'll put it like this. I was getting a bit worried, to be honest with you. I think I mentioned on the keep, loan, sell. I think if he hasn't or wasn't signing, I think there was a chance we would have cashed in this summer. Not sure how much money we would have got. But when I saw the news, maybe a bit of a knee slide across the kitchen floor, I was delighted. I think he's a really, really, really good player for us. And I think he's someone who has the ability, particularly over a 3-year span now with the extension, he could go on to be a really important player for us next season. Tom Cleverley really likes him as well. So I think he could be vital for our midfield next season. And we've mentioned it before on the channel, but he played under Pep Guardiola at Man City. And yes, it didn't necessarily work out there for him. And he had to come out to Watford, where he's also gone out on loan to Reading in the Championship or League One at the time. But you don't play under Pep Guardiola if you don't have amazing potential. And I think that's what Tom Dele's got. And I think that's what we're starting to see.
Right decision, Charlie, to offer him a new deal? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's well deserved. Played in a number of positions last season. I think whenever he was on the pitch, he was pretty good. I just think he needs that consistency. I love how good he is on the ball, that tight control. Thought he excelled under Clevs, kind of from that deeper position. So, yeah, I'm really happy for Tom. If it's true, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I think that's exactly the kind of deals we should be making to kind of tie down our younger, bigger talents. And yeah, he should be one of the first names in the team sheet. So delighted for him, and I think it's a good step from the club.
For sure. I don't think Tom Cleverley will mind us saying, but I don't know if you lads were around at the time when he was having a chat at the WD18 Cup, and we kind of asked him about which players sort of surprised you when you worked so closely with them. And one of the ones that came up quite quickly was Tom Dele-Bashiru. And he said, Clevs, about how good he has been in training, and he didn't really appreciate how good he is until he saw him up close. Now, Sam mentioned the fact that he's worked under Pep, he's worked under a number of different Watford managers as well. He's obviously had his injury setbacks. But I think, Sam, the one thing you would say is in that number 6 role, he kind of made it his own towards the end of last season. And I think when you think about the formations that we could be playing, and it's mentioned a lot about this 3 at the back, whether it's going to be a 3-4-2-1, it's going to be a 3-4-1-2. Where do you see him? Do you see him as a little bit further on, as we saw him before? Do you see him as one of the 2 in midfield that's going to be a mainstay next season, obviously providing that he can remain fit?
Yeah, I think in one of the 2, but I think this is why I really like him as well. I think he's so versatile and he can play in either of those roles. But I quite like him slightly deeper, picking the ball up from the defenders, because I also think he gives us that air of creativity as well. I think someone a bit more disciplined next to him as well. We've had at times the likes of Jake Livermore next to him, which I think suited him really, really well. But having Tom Dele there, I think he can make those runs forward. He can drive the ball forward. And I think having him in that deep position as a starting point, I think is always a really, really good sign. And I think hopefully if he stays injury free, I think we could also be looking at a really good return on him at the end of this 3-year deal. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with the news. And it's a great, I know the transfer window hasn't opened yet, but it's almost feels like not a new signing in a way, but because of how he really stepped up towards the end of last season, that did feel like a new signing, because we hadn't seen a side to Tom Dele like that before.
Charlie, just in terms of what you saw at the back end of last season, I remember you putting a tweet out saying you couldn't tackle him in a phone box. Just on that, what would you say impressed you towards the back end of last season, maybe from what we saw previously from Tom in that deeper role?
Yeah, I think that maturity and that composure on the ball, and I think it was something that Val said quite a lot last season, especially when sometimes he was playing at right back and you saw him inverted in, where he could take the pressure in those areas, and he's quite press resistant. So yeah, I think he's done well. Like, this feels like his first season really last season, doesn't it? And like, obviously scored in the first game. Am I right in saying, obviously we know Sierralta's got that dynamic burst of pace, but Tom Dele as well, he can beat a man, can't he? He's got that burst of pace. So yeah, I think Sam's right. If we can have him as one of the pivot and someone next to him, I think it's a good like I think we said when we looked at our keep, loan and sell, if we keep everyone, the core of our team is okay. I'm just trying to think of the top of my head, especially defence, Tom Dele. If you've got like a Kone or a Spria, kind of that central area you're happy with. It's just kind of building around that. So, yeah, I think it's a really good move, and I think he would have had offers as well. So he's played well. He's had some tough times for injuries, so he's probably got a nice pay rise that he truly deserves. So I'm buzzing for him, really.
Yeah, absolutely. 35 games in the Championship last season for Tom Dele-Bashiru, 2 goals, 2 assists. Probably the pick of the bunch, though, was in one of the FA Cup games against Chesterfield at home, which is a lovely, lovely goal. So he's close to agreeing a new contract, according to Sky Sports News. A 3-year deal with him obviously entering the last year of his contract at Watford. So that's one that hopefully should be official very, very soon. One bit of news that is official is Alberto Garrido, who has joined from Real Madrid Castilla, joining Watford as Tom Cleverley's new first team coach. Now, there was a lot made from Andrew French about Tom bringing in an experienced head, someone who's come from a winning culture, and this man certainly has. He was the assistant head coach at Real Madrid Castilla, where he worked for more than 15 years in the reserve team for obviously one of the most recognisable and successful clubs in the world. He will join Tom Cleverley's backroom team, including Damon Lathrope and Armin Cavalla in his backroom team as well. So, Sam, when you put all that in together and you look at what Cleverley said in terms of Alberto brings a wealth of coaching experience and has a real knowledge of how to develop top young players. We're trying to rebuild a winning culture around the club again, and he comes from the most successful culture in world football. That's got to be a positive bit of news for Watford. And I guess most importantly, a positive thing for Tom Cleverley as well.
Yeah, 100%. Someone coming in from that background, from that winning environment. Obviously, they've won a ridiculous amount Real Madrid, and a lot of that, I think, it comes down ultimately to the infrastructure of the club, the foundations, the way things work at the Castilla or the B team, whatever you want to call it. He's developed some really, really impressive players as well over the years, like some Martin Odegaard, Achraf Hakimi, Nacho, who's just won the Champions League, Fede Valverde. There's so many as well. So I think he could be a really, really good person for our younger players to look up to, potentially something that could persuade the likes of Yasser Asprilla, Ismail Kone to stay. When I did first see it, before I'd done the digging around him, I was a little bit cautious, thinking that surely Tom Cleverley's not picked him out himself. But I think if there's someone of that talent with that pedigree available, you can't turn him down. And if those quotes are anything to go by, I think Clevs is definitely delighted by it.
So with the one name that was linked, Charlie, when there was rumours about Cleverley wanting an experienced assistant coach, was Warren Joyce, who Clevs had a relationship at Manchester United. You've done a bit of digging around Garrido. So talk us through Alberto Garrido. No, I know obviously you're a man who loves a coach. Obviously,
especially a bald coach.
It's your bald excellence. It's your coach. It's your job. You do your job. So on those lines, what have you? Do you know anything about him? Do you know the way he operates? We've had a few comments which I'll get to in just a moment. But anything you've found out about him?
Yeah, not as much as I'd hoped, to be honest. I don't know if that's just me being lazy, or we've got a couple of Spanish guys that we work with, who are, one of them's a Real Madrid fan, and I kind of asked him, and he didn't have too much to say. But I think when you look at how long he's been at Real Madrid, and I think the one positive that I'm taking from it is he's coming into a role that's quite similar to what he's done previously in terms of the head coach he's worked with. So he used to work with Guti, obviously a legendary Real Madrid player, Solari, and also Raul Gonzalez. So he's got that experience, and those guys are kind of coming younger. So Tom Cleverley is going to experience that kind of soundboard, but I think he's going to bring a totally different dynamic and feel and ideas. It's going to, like, you hear different kind of dynamics in terms of sometimes head coaches like an Ange or like a Steven Gerrard don't do the hands-on coaching and leave it to their assistant. So it'd be interested to see that dynamic, who's going to be taking the sessions. I know Damon does a lot of sessions and stuff like that, but the fact that we've got him in from Real Madrid with his pedigree, he would have experienced working with a lot of elite players who've gone on to be elite players, and he's going to have standards. So absolutely surprised, but chuffed to bits. And yeah, it can only be a positive thing. I just hope we don't mess it up. We don't do another Ben Manga, but yeah, excited. And I'm interested to see, kind of learn a bit more about him. Hopefully when he joins the club, if he does an interview, we learn a bit more about kind of his dynamic. But yeah, it can only be good news. So pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was as well. I mean, Sam touched upon it there about the players he's worked with: Odegaard, Hakimi, Carvajal, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Nacho, obviously as well. And obviously, Charlie, you mentioned there about working closely with the legend that is Raul, but with the Castilla team as well, Zinedine Zidane, he worked alongside him for 2 years. So this is a guy who really believes in football at this moment in time. We've had a few comments sort of about Garrido's sort of experience. And Lou Warren said, I managed to speak to a few people about Garrido, and he's in the mould of Sarri, Pep, Flick in terms of game model and way of thinking, which is interesting. Now, I guess, I mean, Sam L says it as well. Garrido's experience is priceless. Fantastic addition to Cleverley's backroom. Now, Sam, whilst this is all fantastic, is there the cynic in you which is thinking Alberto's potentially eyeing up a different role at some point? Or is this me being very sort of half-glass empty and going, you know what, just live it, just be in the present, Jacob. Don't look ahead too much.
I feel bad saying his name now after your excellent pronunciation of it, but
do you know what? I've been smashing out. I'm trying to learn a bit of Spanish. And now any opportunity to say a Spanish word in a bit of an accent, I'm absolutely milking it. So Garrido is my.
Keep going with it. We'll get that Duolingo sponsorship in for next season.
Great Spanish. Do recommend, by the way.
I think, without doubt, I think it was one of the first things I said as soon as I saw it is future Watford manager potentially. This guy coming in.
What do you think?
Just the way we operate. I think obviously I'm completely behind Tom Cleverley. I must say that. And I really, really want him to succeed. But we know with the way that we operate, particularly with the Pozzos in charge, that a few bad results and questions will be asked immediately from the boardroom. And I don't think someone of Garrido's sort of caliber and his football background would have come to us without the potential that he could go on to get his first head coach job, particularly somewhere like England in the Championship. I think it would be a great opportunity for him to do so and get himself in the spotlight. Like I say, I'm completely behind Tom Cleverley and I'm not wishing anything away at all. And like you say, Jake, I'm just trying to be in the present here, but I don't think he would have come unless there was that opportunity there potentially if Tom Cleverley does leave, that he does take over as the head coach.
Do you buy that, Charlie?
I can't believe it's June and we're talking about a Watford manager's uncertainty about the job. It's not that time of the year, surely.
Where does it going to end, Robbie?
When will it end? Nah, look, it is what it is. Like, it's interesting what Luke said there about his game model, and I thought, does that tally up with what Tom's ideas and what we've seen in the back end? So, look, we don't know. I'm sure we're going to talk about Gino in a bit when it comes to this new kind of fundraising exercise, if you want to call it that. But we can't. I always say about any manager, we just need to focus on what we've got. And look, it's a great opportunity if we can bring in, like, I think it's quite, I don't know, outside the box or creative. We could have easily gone for an old school English manager, but we've gone for someone with real pedigree and he's still of a good age, but he's got, 15 years of coaching experience under him. So now let's just get behind Clevs, let's get behind him. And hopefully those guys work off each other well. And it's a beautiful partnership.
Hopefully. Lou Warren said, Cleverley also Garrido coaches the attacking football he wants to see, so I assume he'll have a huge part in on grass training as well. Charlie loves saying about the grass, he get him on the grass. There was also some news that Cannavaro, another bald manager, has left Udinese, which didn't surprise me, Sam. I don't know if it didn't surprise me because it's Gino Pozzo, but kind of also did at the same time.
I'll be honest, it's the first I've seen of it. I sort of switched off a bit from football before the year.
He's going to appoint Garrido as their head coach.
Move him across. Cannavaro is a name that's been linked with Watford as well over the years, hasn't he? So, yeah, I'm sure at some point his name will be circulated again. But it's not surprising at all. Really, really poor season for Udinese. And I'm sure Mr. Pozzo will be hoping for something a bit better come next season.
So just on that sort of conversation we had about Cleverley and Garrido, Jack said, I thought the same thing. Really hope Cleverley isn't undermined and is given a proper chance. Yeah, Odgster makes a fantastic point, Sam. I thought you guys were already behind Clevs.
I'm right behind Clevs still. I'm genuinely, I think with supporting Watford over the last 5-6 years, I think there's just an air of predictability about everything. We looked at how, when we did the keep loan sell, we looked at how thin the squad potentially could be going into next season if we don't recruit correctly. And I'll be honest, I am slightly worried. And we know that the way things go, the manager will be the first person to be thrown under the bus. So look, I think it's just cautious optimism. I'm potentially a bit worried about falling in love with the manager all over again, because you just know what's inevitably going to happen. But completely behind Tom Cleverley, but I'm just slightly worried by next season, to be honest.
Yeah, Sam says Alberto's experience is priceless. Fantastic addition to Cleverley's backroom. So we'll see how he gets on. If you could, we're halfway through the stream, so if you could leave a like, as Surin said, that'd be massively appreciated. If we can get to 50, 60 likes by the end of the stream, be massively appreciated. Part of me kind of dies inside when I ask people for likes, but it does really help us out. It does push the video to as many people as possible. We move on. So a few transfer rumours before we get into the juicy stuff about Watford share sale. Matt Richie was linked. Good to see Lauren's all the way from Belgium. Top man, thanks for watching, mate. Matt Richie is the type of signing that a promotion team would want. Now, Matt Richie has been linked with a move to Watford. I have to admit, I don't know how much truth is in it. I wouldn't be surprised, but also would be surprised at the same time, because he's a name that came out of nowhere. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if Watford dipped into that market at some point. So on that, Charlie, Matt Richie, yay or nay?
Nay. So he's going to be on big wages. It just doesn't excite me like these sort of rumours. I saw Ben Osborne today, but I don't know. We saw with Jake Livermore, and kind of everyone was miserable about that, weren't they, last season? And it turned out to be pretty good. I can't see it. Has Tom ever had a existing relationship with Matt? I'm not sure. It's more Charlie Daniels and Goz if he's going to be playing for the under-21s, but it's not something that's going to get me exciting. But I can't see it to be true. These names just get flown about when all the free transfers come off. So I don't know. Do you think he could do a job of that sort of signing we need?
It does feel a little bit of agent talk, doesn't it? Team talk say that Cleverley's a big admirer of Richie's versatility and experience. He is a free agent, Sam, when you bring that all into account.
Look, I think it's quite easy to look at free agents, put 2 and 2 together and make up predictable transfer rumours. Like you say, agent talk, that sort of thing. Getting a player's name out there is relatively simple to do in today's media. Slightly torn between sort of what Charlie's saying in terms of I am swaying towards agreeing you. It doesn't excite me too much. But at the same time, Jake Livermore, I was not happy with that signing at all. Ben Hamer wasn't too happy with the signing as well. And both of those turned out to be okay. But so look, if it is a transfer that does come through, I think we are a team who are going to go for promotion next season or a top 6 push, we are going to need someone of Matt Ritchie's experience. Whether that's him or not, I suppose we'll see. But yeah, wait for something more concrete on that.
Yeah, a few comments on Richie. Jack said, I would take him. It gives much needed cover at right back and left back and knows the league. Lou Warren says, Watford and other clubs normally means absolute nonsense. Fabian says, please not another player from Newcastle. And RH1986, good to see you, mate. One of our regulars, Matt Richie, is Tom Ince Mark II. So we'll see how that one develops. It did seem very much like an agent's floated about to a few different sites to say that Matt Richie is available and very much in the shop window. Someone who is in the shop window, by the looks of it as well, is Valencia's Declan Fith. And Watford have entered the race to sign the left winger. The club met with the player's entourage on Thursday, so just a few days ago, and they are very keen on signing the left winger. Now, Charlie, you like the look of him. Why?
Yeah, no, this is the sort of profile which will get me a bit excited. A younger guy, his background is, I think he was bought through the Chelsea Academy at first, and then Aston Villa signed him a couple of years ago. He did really well in Premier League 2, got some good goals and assist numbers, and then obviously took the plunge and tried to make the move abroad to Valencia, and I always applaud players to do that. We've seen some good examples with kind of Bellingham and Sancho, kind of those English players taking that step, learning new culture. And yeah, when I was looking at the clips, he's still, what is he, 21? He's still really young. He's left-footed. I think some people call him a left footer. When I actually looked at it, he'd done most of his best work from the right, kind of cutting into his left. I think he'd bring the vibes. He's very skillful, very tricky, which I think would get fans off their seat. Obviously, he's a bit unproven at kind of a championship level. He's only really played at Valencia's academy, but he's been in our English academy system for a good set of years. He tried to make the jump, and I think if we could get a good deal from him, he's someone that we should be looking at. And when we talked about keep, loan and sell and priority positions, we looked at someone on the right-hand side, especially if Asprilla is going to leave. He's 22, and I think he could be a good addition. So someone who I'd be happy to take.
Sam, just on maybe, I have to admit, I haven't watched a lot of him at all. He's someone who can play on the left. This is very much going off transfer mark, so if this is wrong, apologies. 22 years of age, can play left wing, right wing, left back. Someone made the point that he has only played for the Mestalla team for Valencia, so you're talking a guy who hasn't played at the top level just yet. He is only 22. I guess in terms of, and we mentioned this a lot on this channel, so apologies, but the profile of the player, is that someone we should be targeting, would you say?
Definitely, yeah. In terms of that younger mould, I think I know it's not a South American player this time, but it's that recurring theme we've seen during the Pozzo era of bringing in these younger players, developing them and selling them on for a little bit more. So, yeah, I think the profile fits with probably what we're looking at. The likes of Garrido obviously can develop him, having that Spanish relationship as well could help with that Spanish football relationship, I should say. So, yeah, I think it would be an exciting signing. And the rumour's been ramped up, hasn't it, as well? I think quite a few places are talking about it. So interesting to see if we get that one done when the window opens.
Yeah, for sure. The other team that Martha are saying are linked is Getafe in La Liga. And they're also keen. It basically said that Watford have emerged as a rival and can compete with Getafe financially, which is interesting. So that's definitely one to look out for. Sam, completely just evaded me. Who was the other player? Was it Ben Osborne?
Yeah, Ben Osborne today we were linked with. Not too sure how much truth there is in that. Like Charlie said, I don't think it's the most exciting name. And again, it might just be agent talk because I think he's in a bit of a contract issue at the moment with Sheffield United. They're not sure whether they're going to renew his deal or not because of financially, whether they can afford to renew that deal. So it might be a case of the agent, again, just putting 2 and 2 together. What's a potential transfer and get that name out there to push Sheffield United to make a decision on him. But I suppose we'll see. Not a player who I'd necessarily be too excited about. I'd want someone a bit younger and someone who can get up and down that left-hand side a bit more as well.
Okay, there was a few comments just on Firth. Nothing in Firth, that is, says Luorns. He says, supposedly nothing in this one, but we'll have to wait and see. Philip says, Firth tried to make the jump and was not a success, not worth wasting our time, should be looking higher, even if it's the low market. Bedler says, lads, any news on Ricardo Velio or the Colombian midfielder? Forgot his name. We haven't heard anything of the latest. Having said that, just on Velio, lads, I don't know if you saw this, but we were linked with another goalkeeper this week.
I think he's going to Forest.
Right. But it did make me think about us being linked with another keeper. That suggests to me that is a position we're looking to sign, or is that me reading too much into it?
Is that because Dan Batman signed for England Soccer A team?
Is he? I think he's the coach, isn't he?
No, yeah, the links are there.
Carlos Miguel, a release clause could be triggered by Nottingham Forest or Watford Corinthians goalkeeper, but it's the second keeper we've been linked to, Charlie. So
I actually looked at that when we linked with him and got a bit excited, looking at like his profile and his past completion, and the deal would be like 4 million to get him out of there, but he kind of ticked a lot of boxes. I thought it'd be good, and then when I looked at the second one, it said Forest apparently are signing him, and I think West Ham are interested as well. So it might be another one like the Amanda Brozier, where a foreign publisher has got us mixed up with Wolves or West Ham. But I don't know, these transfer rumours aren't really getting my juices flowing as of yet. I think we have to wait till the players are back for pre-season. They're all still in Dubai and chilling and having fun. So I think we've got a couple of weeks until everyone's back from pre-season, and then hopefully we can get some news which is going to give us something to be excited about.
What would get you excited, Charlie?
What would get me excited?
What would get Charlie Zazzera jumping out of that seat going, Watford are back?
I can't remember. Watch the last video that we did, 5 players Watford should sign, and find out. I can't remember. What was it? The goalkeeper there was good. I don't know. Sorry, it's tired. The Watford news is really, really dried up, and Ben Osborne and Matt Richie are really stinking the place out. So they might come in and guide us to promotion, but I think let's just wait a bit, and let's wait until everyone's back for pre-season, and hopefully the news will be, like I said, something that will get us off our seats a bit more.
Ben Osborne, Matt Richie, and WD18 on a Sunday night. It doesn't get much better than that. We had a few comments from RH1986. It would be very Watford to sign Ben Amos on a free as third choice, Roberts as second, and Backman as first choice. RH1986, I think I wouldn't put us past doing that. Sam, just on the lines before we just get into the shares talk, and I know we've kind of teed it up, so just bear with us on that. Did your brother meet Cleverly today? I feel like I saw it on Facebook, unless I've just told you something that you didn't know.
Breaking news.
I just saw it on Facebook earlier. I'm not a Facebook man, but I went on there earlier, right? And I had a little scroll. And Joel,
yeah.
Cleverly today, and he said that because and Joel, if he's watching, he's got to back me up here, right? On the post, he said, I met Tom Cleverly today. I asked if Shaq Ford will be in his plans, which obviously I hope, because I think he's had a great couple of loan spells. And then Cleverly replied, everyone will get their chance in pre-season.
Most media trained answer possible if that is the case. I've completely forgot.
Exclusive.
Yeah, that's your exclusive you're giving to me. Wow. I'll have to have a look after and speak to him. I think wow, Shaq. I completely forgot about him. Wonder if he'll be involved next season as well.
According to your brother, he will be.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I've never given someone's brother an exclusive about their other brother. That is amazing. Okay, we move on. We will touch on the some of the probably the biggest news of Watford's pre-season so far, and it's around the share sale. So if you've seen it being documented, Watford are basically offering up the chance to invest in the club and basically have the opportunities for fans, investors to buy shares. If we're honest, and we have to make this very clear at this moment in time, we're not financial experts, but we know the sort of basics around it. So, Sam, just talk us through your initial reactions around the possibility of us, all three of us, any Watford fans watching, having the option to invest in the club. There is also packages which we must suggest that has bronze, silver, gold, platinum, which has perks to investing in the club, all ranging from $300 rather, all the way up to $1 million. And you get sort of prizes and perks around that. But when you saw the news that this was an option, what was your sort of initial reaction?
Yeah, welcome to the WD18 consortium. That's what we're announcing today. At the start, I was quite excited. I think as Mike Parkin from the Rookery End said so well on Sky, there's this sort of fairy tale element to it, I think, where as a fan, my heart originally goes, the opportunity to be involved in Watford would be unbelievable. But I think the more reading around it you do, the more concerning it actually is, because you put the money in, there's not too much you get out of it, and you get no involvement in it either. They say that the money is going to go towards recruitment, but we don't know where the money's coming from. And to me, it suggests as well that we're struggling for money or any other sort of investment at the moment, to the point where they're relying on fans. It could be a good thing. They've already raised something like 2.5 million already, but I personally won't be investing. Fair play to anyone who is investing, but I think on the balance of it, it's probably slightly more concerning than I originally first thought.
Charlie, Watford have become the first major English club to seek to raise millions of pounds by offering fans the chance to buy shares in the club via digital equity, quote unquote. This is being, well, obviously clubs owned by Gino Pozzo, and they've put 10% of the shares up for sale, which is valued at to raise funds to build a team who, as can return to the Premier League and to invest in the squads. Supporters, as I said, will be able to invest a minimum of £49.76 for 4 shares into the club, with investors also given, as I said, access to tokens, which, depending on the size of the investment, could lead to perks such as meeting the owners, coaches, players, priority over tickets, chances to get into the boardroom, the kits, etc., all that stuff. What was your take on it? The top line.
My top line, I don't know. I didn't like it. It didn't really sit well with me. I think the thing that I'm just a bit disappointed about it is just the lack of transparency of what the reality of our finances. Like every kind of off season, whenever there's communication from Scott or Gino, I know they had the meeting last summer, and sometimes you hear, "Oh, we're absolutely fine. We're really healthy financial position." Sometimes you hear, "We're not." You can see kind of Hassan Kamara getting sold for 60 million, then loaned back. It's just all a bit slim shady for me. And yeah, I personally won't be investing. Like, not to say if anyone who wants to do it, fair play. I don't know. I just think we're struggling a bit more than we hoped. I think being in the Premier League, and I think the way we kind of left the Premier League with the COVID, it was really, really damaging. It just shows now the gulf between the Championship and the Premier League, and I think we're struggling to recover. This season's the first without parachute payments, and I just think the reality is we haven't got as much money as we used to have, and some parts of the football club are operating still on paying big wages, a lot of money on agents' fees, which we saw a couple of months ago. So I think that's something that's disappointing me the most, the lack of transparency about the reality of our financial position. But when it says go towards players, like, we're not going to raise 6 million and spend 6 million. Like, I don't think we're going to raise 6 million and we're going to buy 3 players for 2 million. Like, I think it could help us bring in 1 player, but I think it's more just to balance the books, really. So yeah, something that didn't really leave me kind of a bit of a sour taste in my mouth personally. But Jacob, did you see any positives from it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, do you know what it is? I think it's quite an innovative idea. I think the bit that I struggle with is the lack of input of the people who are investing. Because I think there's nothing wrong with trying to find different avenues to invest. But I think what's made me look at it a little bit differently is the fact that if I'm investing a sum of money, I'm not really, as a supporter, getting a lot back apart from a few perks. And I think really there should be a bit more say in it. And that's kind of led me on to what the Supporters Trust actually had to say about it. I was just going to put the statement up here if you guys can see that. If I get that up very quickly. Can you guys see that pretty clearly? Okay, let me just zoom in slightly. Give me 2 seconds. I'll just read it out just because it's really important, because this is sort of the Watford Supporters Trust take on the Watford share sale. So the Watford Supporters Trust notes the announcement from Watford regarding the sale of shares to supporters and investors. While some supporters may view this as a way to help the club meet its immediate financial needs, the Trust have questions about the nature of this appeal for investment and the wider implications as to our club's financial stability, particularly as we are aware that other attempts to secure investment from third parties have broken down. The club has rightly highlighted up front that this is a high-risk investment and that investors should be prepared to lose all of their investment, which is noted at the top of the website of the initial share sale announcement. Once purchased, they go on to say the shares need to be held for 12 months before they can be traded on the Republic or Cedars platform, which are hosting all the sales. These are known as secondary markets, where shares can be traded during certain windows, typically once a month. It's halfway through. Stick with me. It's just important to give a bit of context about sort of the Supporters Trust. While the shares could increase in price if the club returns to this period of stable success, the immediate concern is that they do not provide any tangible benefits, such as voting rights in AGMs or basic levels of consultation by or input to the board. As such, the owner will be entitled to use all finance raised however he sees fit, without any consultation with or recourse to those who have invested. We retain the belief that fans who make a financial investment in the club should be entitled to some form of input or engagement about how their money will be used. More critical concerns link back to the reason the trust formed over 20 years ago. While the club showed a substantial pre-tax profit in 22-23, which is driven by player sales, we have a number of significant questions about the rationale and timing for this appeal for cash injection. Along with fans and other supporter organisations, we enjoyed a few hours of dialogue with the owner last summer. There has been no subsequent engagement, including on financial matters. We strongly encourage the club to provide more detail on its current financial status in 23-24, what has prompted the share sale now, and specifically how funds will be allocated against business needs. We've contacted the club on these matters and will advise our members of any forthcoming response. So that is the message from the Watford Supporters Trust on this situation. Just in terms of the club statement, Sam, they said that part of the funding, as Charlie mentioned, will be channeled into recruitment to strengthen Cleverley's playing squad as we look to get back to the Premier League. We believe this project can form a key strand of football's future finance where investors and supporters alike can enjoy the fruit of the club's future success. Having looked at a number of options, we've decided to take the exciting and innovative step of becoming the first major English club to offer true ownership through digital equity. Digital equity is an easy and practical way to access the shares in the club. So basically, put simply, we are aiming to offer approximately 10% of the club at a value of 17.5 million on the basis of a club valuation of 175 million, having posted a pre-tax profit of 24.1 million for the last financial year, the highest in the EFL. We believe this is a fair valuation of the club. That is too much of me speaking, but
breathe, Jacob. I was going to say.
I'm going to ask you, Sam, 175 million in terms of valuation of this football club. Is that higher or lower or about right than what you expected?
I'll be honest.
At one point in the Premier League, when there was rumours of a US media group going to buy a third of the club, that was at 300 million. So just as a bit of context as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the most clued up, like I say, on football finances, but it does seem like a lot. It does seem that we're operating at the highest agent fees in the Championship. It seems that we're still operating. We've got a Premier League quality training ground. I genuinely believe that. I think we've got a Premier League quality stadium as well. And it seems still a lot of parts of the club are operating at Premier League level. Having said that, I don't think the playing squad and the reality of potentially our financial situation reflects that we're worth £175 million. So I think it's probably slightly more than I believed it would be. But like I say, I'm not the most clued up on my financial side of things in football.
Just one thing that I think they massively missed a trick on, and it's that kind of having that say from supporters that they can have that say on the board. And obviously you're not going to have everybody buy shares in a board meeting, but some sort of committee could have been made, and then the fans could have voted for one or two kind of dedicated people who would have that spot on the board and have that communication. And I think that's the thing, that it's kind of like, in the harshest way possible, we want your money, but you can't really make a difference. And I think if they just had two representatives on the FAD on the board, that would have been a lot more appetizing for everyone to get on board with.
I agree. If they turned around and said that, all right, we're going to say that 10% of fans who invest, or a few of the fans who invest, will get seats on the board or be allowed to communicate with the board freely, I think we'd see people going, do you know what, this is an excellent idea and it's really innovative for English football. In reality, you're not owning anything, are you? You're investing the money, and in return, all you're getting is a stadium tour, hospitality once a season, and a new home shirt. It doesn't seem fair necessarily for the amount of money that some fans are putting in, what they're getting out of it, when they're not getting a say in the football club at all. How exactly does it work in Germany? Because in Germany, they have to have fans on the board or something like that.
Yeah, it's 51% ownership, isn't it? So that fans own one bit more of the club. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, they have that decision-making input on the board, which is, again, it's just something that you want to be connected with the fans. And like I said, you might not be able to run things as fans want, but at least you can have your say. And I think they massively missed a trick on there. But who knows? We might get another Troy Deeney out of it. Obviously, when Elton done the concert, we got the money raised to get Troy Deeney out of that. Who knows? It might work. I think Gino is putting a lot of faith on Tom Cleverley being an unbelievable coach, because if we do somehow get near the top of the table, that's when kind of the shares, you get a bit more money. But yeah, I just think it's I don't know, an interesting way of trying to raise more funds that we need.
I think the lads have summed it up really well, and I don't really have a lot to add on it. The only thought I did have was just on this. there is part of me which just wonders whether this is the fact. Do you know what interested me actually was the fact that all the packages and all the investments in dollars as well, and I wonder whether this is an attempt maybe for potential American investors, because we've had a few rumours that it's going to be. I remember Football Co were linked. There was the media group that were linked a few years ago. It always seems to be American investors are the ones that may be looking to get involved in the football club. Whether it's just a show to them that we're sort of intermittently linked with sort of this, and maybe show there is a market outside the UK, than just the one that we have at this moment in time for Watford, and get some money onto the board. It was just one thought I had in terms of that sort of American angle on this whole thing. But I think one thing I would urge a lot of people to do is just on this is to read Kieran Maguire, who's a football financial expert, and we're very much just giving the fan take on this. If you want to hear the details, if you want to hear the sort of ins and outs, make sure you just give his threads a read. It's on his Twitter account, Kieran Maguire @KieranMaguire. So make sure you do give that a read. Just to wrap up today, we have a few comments on it because it obviously is a massive talking point around the club at the moment. Will RP, good to see you, mate. You invested, lads. Sam, Charlie, and myself haven't at this moment in time. I don't think I probably will, to be honest. But yeah, each their own. Get Dan Gosling and Lloyd Dawley to chuck $1 million in each. David says it smacks of desperation to me. Lou Warren says horrendous PR, but a genuinely good idea. The mistake they made was saying the audience was the core fan base when it's quite obviously targeted to global fans of other clubs. Tim White says, in my opinion, everyone is far, far too negative about it. Adam says it's the lack of input that killed this. If we got a bit of say in the club activities and transfers, everyone would be happier. Jack says, I find it really concerning, the 10% thing. It seems to me we are struggling financially and have struggled to get investment, and this is almost a last resort. Sam L says it's a promising idea, but the way they've gone about it is a bit disappointing. Seems like we need to raise funds without parachute payments rather than actually offering fans a chance to reinvest. And I think also, you guys mentioned it as well, I think because there's questions about sort of the financial aspect with Watford at the minute, you know, seemingly an agent like Mogi Bayat, who is sort of intermittently linked with the club at the minute, and there's sort of fees going on there, and we're asking to be invested. Some of it just isn't a great look. So I understand the concept of it, but I think there's definitely some questions to be asked. And I think an AGM, as the Supporters Trust said, would be a great way to go about it. Lou wants to say if fans got any say in transfers, it would be a mess. And I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else we wanted to cover on that, lads? Is there anything else we missed? All good. Okay, I think that's where we'll leave it. Nice one. So yeah, there we go. Watford have offered the chance to share shares and offer the chance for fans to buy shares into the club via digital equity. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Sam, Charlie, any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
I'm excited to watch Georgie and Porto in Germany. I saw Porto arriving in Germany today. You never know in international tournaments, kind of you see like at World Cup when people kind of make themselves names and get big summer moves. So it's going to be interesting how they perform at that level. Obviously, we're used to seeing them in the Championship. So looking forward to supporting those guys.
Sam?
Obviously not Scotland too much, but
yeah, I'm sort of torn because not only am I torn between the fact that I want Ryan Porteous to do well, but not necessarily Scotland. I've got Scotland in the sweepstake as well. So, yeah, it's a difficult start to the summer for me, to be honest. But, yeah, hopefully both of those two players have really, really good tournaments, particularly Ryan Porteous. If he has a good tournament, it wouldn't shock me if there is some interest around him come the summer window. So, yeah, buzzing for the Euros and, hopefully everyone enjoys it.
There was just a comment from Michael, which is a good comment, just to wrap up on that share sales. The last thing, just because he said fans need to realise we're on a downward slope and the attraction of players diminishes with every season we're out the Premier League, another mid-table finish, and we're in Championship purgatory. So that's something to bear in mind as well. In terms of we smash the like for the guys, even if they're not investing. That's just at this moment in time, Odger, by the way. It's something that I do need to do a bit more digging into, to be completely honest. In terms of who I got in the sweepstake, by the way, I got Croatia. So I don't think that's really going to reap any rewards for me.
Quick prediction for Euros winner.
Oh, I think the obvious one's France, but I wouldn't be surprised at Portugal.
I was going to say Portugal. I think Portugal being slept on a bit, to be honest.
England, get behind the boys. I was listening to a podcast today, and Yasser Asprilla got compared to an English player. Who do you think it is?
Foden?
Stylistically, huh?
Foden?
Yeah, Phil Foden. They said that's the type of player he is, and I thought it was a good shout.
Love it. He was playing for Colombia yesterday in a 5-1 win.
Yeah, I don't think he came on. I think he was on the bench.
He wasn't playing for Colombia yesterday.
We'll claim it, though. We'll claim it.
Thanks so much to everyone who watched today, guys. Hope you did enjoy the stream. Hope we managed to cover a lot as well. But let us know if you want us to do any content from now over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a bit touch and go, but let us know in the comment section what you want to see. Subscribe to WD18, share this video and podcast to as many people as possible. It really does help us out. Leave a like on the stream on the way out. Comment down below your thoughts, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. And up the Hornets. You odds.